Hello, senior citizens. When most people think about stroke, they imagine poor diet, lack of exercise, or high blood pressure as the main causes. While these are important, there is one factor many people, especially seniors, never consider: the way you sleep at night. Your sleeping position is not just about comfort. It directly affects blood flow to your brain, the oxygen your body receives, and even the pressure on your heart and blood vessels. Ignoring this can raise your risk of stroke without you ever realizing it. I often tell my patients that the body is like a fragile machine in older age. Every small habit matters. For example, if you twist your neck the wrong way for several hours while sleeping, you could be reducing blood supply to the brain. If you sleep flat on your back and snore heavily, your airway may partially collapse, leading to lower oxygen levels. These things may sound minor, but repeated every night, they put enormous stress on your brain and heart. This is why it is so important to understand how your position in bed can either protect your health or slowly damage it. Think of it like posture during the day. Bad posture in a chair will give you back pain over time. Bad posture in bed can give you something far worse. Stay with me until the end of this video, because I will show you the exact positions that put you at risk and the ones that can actually protect your brain. Number 1, neck artery compression. Let me explain this to you in very simple terms. On each side of your neck, you have two important blood vessels called the carotid arteries. These arteries are like highways carrying oxygen-rich blood straight to your brain. If something interferes with them, even slightly, your brain does not get the amount of blood and oxygen it needs. Now imagine what happens if you go to bed and spend 6 to 8 hours with your head twisted or bent in a way that presses on one of those arteries. That is what we call neck artery compression. This problem is most common when people sleep on their stomach or when they pile up too many pillows and bend their neck at an awkward angle. At first, you will not feel anything. You might even think it is comfortable. But as hours pass, the constant pressure on the arteries slows down circulation to the brain. The brain is very sensitive to reduced blood flow. Even short periods of low supply can cause dizziness or morning headaches. Over the long term, it raises the risk of stroke. Here is a simple example. Imagine a water hose in your garden. If you bend it halfway, water still flows, but not at full strength. If that continues day after day, the pressure inside builds up, and eventually the hose may weaken or burst. Your arteries behave in a very similar way. Research has shown that restricted blood flow through the carotid arteries can increase the likelihood of small clots forming. According to the American Heart Association, any disturbance in these arteries can significantly raise stroke risk, particularly in people over the age of 60. I have seen many patients who wake up with stiffness in the neck and brush it off as just part of aging. What they do not realize is that this stiffness may be a warning sign that their sleep posture is cutting off circulation to the brain. By simply adjusting sleeping positions, such as moving to a side-lying position with the head supported in line with the spine, blood flow remains open and healthy throughout the night. So when you lie down tonight, remember this: comfort is important, but circulation is life. Protect your brain by protecting the arteries in your neck. Number 2, silent oxygen starvation. One of the most dangerous things that can happen in your sleep is something you never notice. It is called silent oxygen starvation. This happens when the way you sleep slightly blocks your airway, reducing the amount of oxygen your body takes in. You may not wake up. You may not even snore loudly, but your brain and your heart are quietly being deprived of the oxygen they need. Think of oxygen as fuel for your brain. Every second of your life, your brain cells are burning through oxygen to keep you alive. When you sleep, the demand does not stop. If you lie flat on your back or your chin falls forward on your chest, your airway can narrow just enough to limit airflow. You may breathe, but you are not breathing effectively. The result is lower oxygen levels in your blood, a condition called nocturnal hypoxemia. The danger here is subtle but powerful. Even small drops in oxygen, if they happen repeatedly through the night, force your heart to work harder to pump blood. Over time, this weakens the heart and damages blood vessels. Studies published in the Lancet Respiratory Medicine confirm that oxygen drops during sleep are strongly linked to a higher risk of stroke and heart failure in older adults. Let me give you an example. Imagine charging your phone with a weak charger that only gives half the power. The phone still works, but it drains quickly, overheats, and wears out faster. That is exactly what happens to your brain when it does not get full oxygen at night. It survives, but at a cost. Many people wake up feeling tired, foggy, or with morning headaches. They blame age, stress, or lack of good sleep. In reality, it may be silent oxygen starvation slowly wearing down the body. The simple fix is to check your sleeping posture and make sure your airway stays open. Remember this: sleep should restore you, not quietly harm you. Number 3, hidden blood clot triggers. One of the most overlooked risks of sleeping in the wrong position is the way it encourages blood clots to form. Blood is meant to circulate freely, carrying oxygen and nutrients everywhere in the body. But if you lie still in certain positions for long hours, circulation slows down, especially in the legs. When blood moves too slowly, it can pool and thicken, which makes it easier for clots to form. This is dangerous because clots do not always stay in one place. If a clot breaks free and travels to the brain, it can block blood supply and cause a stroke. This is very similar to what happens on long flights. You may have heard of economy class syndrome, where passengers sitting for hours without moving develop blood clots in their legs. The same principle applies in bed. If you lie flat on your back or stomach without shifting much, circulation in certain areas weakens. For seniors whose veins are already less flexible, this creates the perfect environment for clots to appear silently during the night. Research in the Journal of Thrombosis and Hemostasis highlights that immobility during sleep is a real risk factor, particularly for people over 60 who may already have conditions like varicose veins, diabetes, or high blood pressure. These conditions slow circulation further and make clotting more likely. I often explain this to patients by asking them to picture a river. When the water is flowing fast, it is clear and clean. But if the flow slows down, debris gathers and mud settles. Blood behaves in the same way. Strong circulation keeps vessels clear, while slowed circulation allows clots to develop. Some patients wake up with swollen feet or tingling legs thinking it is harmless. In reality, those are possible warning signs that blood is not moving properly. Shifting positions during sleep, elevating the legs slightly, or staying hydrated before bedtime can help reduce this risk. So, do not ignore the danger. Blood clots are hidden threats, and the wrong sleeping posture can be the very trigger that sets them in motion overnight. Number 4, pressure on the heart. Many people are surprised when I tell them that the way they lie in bed can actually put extra strain on the heart. One position that often raises concern, especially for people with existing heart problems, is sleeping on the left side. While it might feel comfortable, this posture can put more pressure on the heart itself, and in seniors with cardiovascular issues, it can make things worse over time. Here is why. The heart is not just floating freely in the chest. It is positioned slightly more to the left. When you lie on your left side, the heart gets compressed between the chest wall and the rest of the body. For a healthy person, this may not cause much trouble. But for someone with high blood pressure, weakened heart muscles, or a history of heart disease, the extra pressure can disturb the way the heart pumps blood during the night. Some patients even notice that when they lie on their left side, their heartbeat feels louder or more irregular. This is not imagination. Studies published in the Journal of the American College of Cardiology show that body position can influence heart rhythm and blood pressure during sleep. In vulnerable individuals, these nighttime changes increase the risk of spikes in blood pressure and episodes of irregular heartbeat, both of which are linked to higher stroke risk. Think of it this way. Imagine carrying a heavy bag in your left hand all day. After some hours, your left arm feels weaker and strained compared to the right. The same thing happens with the heart when it is pressed down for hours. The constant pressure makes it work harder when it should be resting and repairing itself. Patients often ask me, so should I never sleep on my left side? The answer is not always so strict. For people without major heart problems, left side sleeping may not cause harm and can even help reduce acid reflux. But for seniors with high blood pressure, heart failure, or irregular heart rhythms, the safer option is usually sleeping on the right side or on the back with proper support. Your heart is working non-stop day and night. Giving it a break during sleep by choosing the right position can reduce strain, lower risk, and allow the body to truly recharge. Number 5, brain drain blockage. Most people know the body needs good sleep to rest, but very few understand that the brain has its own cleaning system that only works properly while you are asleep. This system is called the glymphatic system. Think of it as the brain's personal housekeeping crew. Its job is to wash away waste products, toxins, and proteins that build up during the day. If these wastes are not cleared, they pile up inside the brain and quietly damage brain cells over time. Here is the part that surprises many patients. The glymphatic system does not work equally in every sleeping position. Research from the University of Rochester found that this cleaning process works best when you sleep on your side, especially the right side. When you lie flat on your back or on your stomach, the system is less effective, and waste removal slows down. Over the years, these toxins build up and increase the risk of conditions such as Alzheimer's disease, memory decline, and even stroke. To make this simple, picture a sink drain. If the sink is tilted in the right direction, water flows out quickly. But if it is tilted the wrong way, the water sits and stagnates. Your brain works in a very similar way. The wrong position prevents efficient drainage, and that waste becomes harmful. I have seen many older patients who struggle with memory issues or constant brain fog, and when we look deeper, their sleep habits play a role. According to studies published in the Journal of Neuroscience, poor glymphatic function due to sleeping posture has a direct link with cognitive decline and vascular problems in the brain. So the message is simple. Protecting your brain is not just about puzzles or diet. It is also about how you lie down at night. Choosing the right sleeping posture, especially side sleeping with good head support, allows your brain to detox and lowers your risk of stroke as you age. Number 6, micro-wake stress. Sleeping on your stomach may feel cozy for some people, but it is one of the most stressful positions for the body, especially for the neck and the brain. When you lie face down, your head has to twist sharply to one side just so you can breathe. That twisting might not seem like much at first, but holding that angle for 6 to 8 hours is unnatural. It puts strain on the neck, compresses blood vessels, and sends stress signals to the nervous system all night long. Here is what happens next. Your body reacts by creating tiny awakenings, what scientists call micro-arousals. These are moments when your brain and body jolt slightly awake to adjust to the discomfort or restricted blood flow, even if you do not remember them in the morning. Every time this happens, your heart rate spikes and your blood pressure rises for a few seconds. When these micro-events happen repeatedly throughout the night, they silently stress your cardiovascular system. Think of it like someone constantly tapping your shoulder while you are trying to rest. You might still stay in bed, but you never get true deep sleep. Over time, the constant interruptions take a toll on your health. Research from the European Journal of Applied Physiology shows that repeated micro-arousals during sleep are strongly linked to higher nighttime blood pressure, which is a major risk factor for stroke and heart disease in older adults. Patients often tell me, "But I feel fine when I wake up." The truth is, you might not notice the damage right away. The effects are silent and gradual. Years of sleeping in this position can lead to stiff necks, morning headaches, or worse, a weakened vascular system that is more vulnerable to stroke. The good news is you can train yourself out of this habit. Using a supportive pillow or gently adjusting to side sleeping can ease the strain and prevent these constant micro-wake stress events. Your body deserves true rest, not a night of hidden battles. Number 7, clogged vein risk. When most people think about blood flow, they picture the heart pumping blood into the body. But what many forget is that blood also needs to drain smoothly back out of the brain through veins in the neck. If that drainage is blocked, pressure inside the head begins to rise. This is where sleeping position comes in. When you sleep curled up too tightly, or with your neck bent forward, you may be pressing on the jugular veins that run down each side of your neck. These veins are like exit doors for the brain, carrying used blood and waste products away. If they are compressed for hours while you sleep, the blood has nowhere to go. The result is higher intracranial pressure, which means extra stress on the delicate blood vessels inside the brain. Over time, this pressure raises the risk of vessel damage, small bleeds, and even stroke. Imagine a busy highway where traffic is supposed to flow out of the city. If an accident blocks the road, cars pile up quickly and the city gets congested. The same thing happens when the veins in your neck are squeezed. blood cannot leave the brain properly, and that congestion turns into harmful pressure. Some patients wake up with pounding headaches, a heavy feeling behind the eyes, or dizziness. These are not just harmless annoyances. According to a study in neurology, impaired venous drainage is linked to increased risks of stroke and cognitive decline, particularly in older adults. It is easy to miss the warning signs because the effects build slowly. Years of sleeping in a crunched or forward-bent posture can silently strain the brain. The simple solution is to keep the neck in a neutral, straight position at night, supported by a pillow that does not push the head too far forward. Remember, circulation is not only about bringing blood in, but also about letting it out. Protecting those veins means protecting your brain from dangerous pressure buildup. Number 8. Undetected sleep apnea. One of the most silent and dangerous sleep disorders in seniors is sleep apnea, and many people do not even know they have it. Sleep apnea happens when the airway collapses or gets blocked during sleep, cutting off breathing for a few seconds at a time. When this happens repeatedly through the night, oxygen levels drop, the body panics, and the brain is jolted awake just enough to restart breathing. The problem becomes worse when you sleep on your back. In this position, gravity pulls the tongue and soft tissues of the throat backward, making it easier for the airway to collapse. For many seniors, this leads to undiagnosed sleep apnea. They may not notice the pauses in breathing, but they wake up tired, foggy, or with morning headaches. Why is this dangerous? Each pause in breathing starves the brain of oxygen and forces the heart to work harder. Over time, this repeated stress damages blood vessels and raises the risk of stroke. A study published in the American Journal of Respiratory and Critical Care Medicine found that people with untreated sleep apnea are up to 2 times more likely to suffer a stroke compared to those without it. I once had a patient who thought his only problem was loud snoring. His wife noticed he often stopped breathing for several seconds at night. After testing, it turned out he had moderate sleep apnea. With treatment and changes in sleep position, his oxygen levels improved, his blood pressure dropped, and his risk of stroke was greatly reduced. Think of it like trying to run a car engine with a clogged air filter. The engine still runs, but it strains, overheats, and wears down faster. Your brain and heart go through the same stress when your airway repeatedly shuts down at night. So if you or someone you love snores heavily, wakes up unrefreshed, or feels unusually tired during the day, do not ignore it. It may not just be poor sleep. It could be undetected sleep apnea, silently increasing the risk of stroke. Number 9. Blood pressure surges. Your body is designed to rest and repair itself at night, which means blood pressure should naturally drop while you sleep. But in some sleeping positions, this healthy drop never happens. Instead, the body experiences sudden surges in blood pressure that you may not notice, but that silently damage your arteries over time. One reason for these surges is the position of the neck. Inside the neck are tiny sensors called baroreceptors. Their job is to regulate blood pressure by sending signals to the brain whenever pressure gets too high or too low. If you sleep with your neck twisted or bent at an awkward angle, these sensors can become irritated. Instead of calming the heart, they misfire, and your body responds with spikes in blood pressure during the night. These surges may last only seconds or minutes, but when they happen over and over, they create wear and tear on blood vessels. This weakens the walls of arteries in the brain and increases the risk of stroke. Research in the Journal of Hypertension shows that people with nighttime blood pressure spikes are far more likely to suffer cardiovascular events compared to those whose blood pressure dips normally at night. I often explain it this way to patients. Imagine you're trying to rest, but someone keeps slamming doors every half hour. You may still get some sleep, but the constant stress builds up. The same thing happens to your arteries. They never get the calm, steady flow they need. Some patients notice this as waking up with a pounding heart, night sweats, or feeling restless even after hours in bed. Others feel nothing at all but still carry the silent risk. The solution is to choose a sleeping position that supports the neck and keeps the head aligned with the spine. This allows the baroreceptors to work properly and prevents unnecessary pressure spikes. Protecting your blood pressure at night means protecting your brain from silent damage. Number 10. Spinal misalignment impact. Your spine is not just a stack of bones keeping you upright. It is the central highway for nerves that control almost every part of your body, including blood pressure and circulation. When you sleep in a position that twists or bends your spine unnaturally, It does more than cause back pain. It disrupts nerve signals that regulate vital functions, including the way blood flows to and from the brain. For example, if you sleep with your head tilted too far forward, or with your lower back unsupported, the nerves around the spinal cord can become irritated. This irritation confuses the body's communication system. Instead of sending steady signals to keep blood pressure balanced, the nervous system fires off irregular messages that can lead to unhealthy spikes or drops in pressure during the night. Both scenarios place extra strain on blood vessels, increasing the risk of stroke in seniors. I often tell patients to think about it like bending a garden hose. Water still flows, but the bend changes the pressure and weakens the hose over time. Your spinal misalignment works the same way. The nerves may still function, but the constant strain weakens the entire system. Research from the Journal of Clinical Hypertension has shown that poor spinal alignment during sleep contributes to nighttime hypertension and disrupted cardiovascular rhythms. Patients with chronic neck or back problems are particularly vulnerable as their nerves are already under stress. Signs of spinal misalignment at night include waking up stiff, with tingling in the arms or legs, or even morning headaches. These are not just signs of aging. They can be warnings that your posture in bed is interfering with your nervous system. The safest step is to use a supportive mattress and pillow that keep the head, neck, and spine in a straight line. This allows nerves to work without interruption and keeps blood pressure stable through the night. When the spine rests in alignment, the whole body rests. But when it twists or strains for hours, the hidden cost can be much more than morning discomfort. In final words, as you can see, the way you sleep at night is not just a matter of comfort. It can quietly shape your health in powerful ways. Your sleeping position affects your heart, your brain, your blood flow, and even how much oxygen you get while you rest. These are not small details to ignore, especially as we grow older. The body becomes less forgiving, and small mistakes repeated every night can build into serious risks over the years. I often tell my patients that prevention is far easier than treatment. A stroke does not happen out of nowhere. It develops slowly as the body is stressed again and again. Something as simple as twisting your neck, collapsing your airway, or curling into a posture that blocks blood flow can quietly increase your chances of a serious health problem later. Take a moment to think about your mornings. Do you ever wake up with a stiff neck, a heavy head, or unexplained fatigue? These are not always random signs of aging. They may be clues from your body that the way you are sleeping is doing more harm than good. Listening to these signals and adjusting your posture could make a life-changing difference. That is why it is important not just to watch this video, but to watch it until the end. The details we are covering are practical and can guide you towards safer, healthier sleep. Protecting your health does not always mean complicated treatments. Sometimes it starts with something as simple as the position you choose when you close your eyes at night. Your health is precious. Understanding it fully is the first step to protecting it. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to subscribe. See you in our next exploration.